This is the new, well, sort of new, GoPro Hero 10. This, at the moment, has been my go-to vlogging setup. It's how I've been making a lot of Instagram reels and Instagram stories, and I've been loving it. This is actually the first action camera that I've ever bought. I've never had one of the DJI Osmos, I've never had any of the other ones, the Insta360 sort of things, but I was drawn to the GoPro Hero 10 for quite a few reasons, and we're going to talk about them reasons today, and my experience with using the GoPro Hero 10, and also going over what my vlogging setup is. So let's get into the video. So it's kind of crazy to think that this is the 10th GoPro. I still remember, actually, it's not my first GoPro. I had a GoPro Hero 4. There was no image stabilization. I basically only really used it for time lapses. This is the first proper GoPro I've bought, and it's the first one I've really been loving using. It is fantastic. Don't get me wrong, it's not perfect. It does have its drawbacks. I've been really enjoying the GoPro Hero 10 experience. So I thought in this video I'd go over some pros and cons of the GoPro Hero 10, and also some things towards the end about what I'd improve and love to see in the GoPro Hero 11, which is beginning to start having some rumours about it now, which is very exciting. Also depressing considering I've just bought the 10, but we move. So let's start this video with some pros for the GoPro Hero 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out of its housing because it's currently in the vlogging setup. So as you can see, I've got the media mod here on it, and just this little tripod thing by vidIQ that I actually got at VidCon London many years ago. I would put it on the switch pod, which is what the camera is currently sat on right now, but I kind of think the switch pod sort of defeats the object of having a small, tiny camera. So I've gone with this, which is fine. I can pivot it up and down. I might look for something where I can have it portrait, because I do film a lot of Instagram stories on it. Unfortunately, you can't do this portrait. I mean, you have to hold it like that, which, you know, ain't fun. Yeah, this is the GoPro Hero 10. So I currently use it with the media mod with vlogging, and I really fluctuate between using the video like the media mod's microphone, which is okay. It's okay. I thought it would be better, but it is better than the actual internal microphone. As you can see here, it does have a jack input, so you can actually put an external microphone into it, like the Rode Video Micro, or what I've been using actually recently is the Rode Wireless Go. I've been finding that works really well, but other than that, this is my sort of little vlogging and Instagram reel setup. Cute, eh? So let's talk about some pros of the GoPro Hero 10. Now, compared to its predecessors, it's got a new and improved build quality, and I love it. It doesn't feel like it's going to break, it doesn't feel cheap, it feels really sturdy, even without the media mod housing, which, let me take that out. It just feels sturdy. It's like, you know, it feels like a proper unit, which I love. You know, I don't want to be, you know, vlogging, running and gunning with this and sort of constantly being conscious. I like that. Constantly being conscious of, you know, if this thing is going to last, if it's going to break, if I can, you know, chuck it around and shit like that. So yeah, it's really sturdy. It's also got their new G2. I can't remember. I'll put a little pop text thing on the screen if it's wrong, but they've got a new processor in it, and it is fantastic. The screen is like super responsive. My friend's got a GoPro Hero 9 and the screen is very laggy. It's almost like an iPhone screen. You can swipe and stuff. It's fantastic. It makes shooting on the go, changing from photo to video and the settings and stuff, it makes it so easy. The next thing that I really love is the 5.3K at 60 frames a second. Do you have any idea? That's nuts. Like, I'm shooting on the Sony A7 IV. Oh yeah, new camera. I switched to Sony. Video about that later. That doesn't even do 5.3K at 60. It does 4K 60, but it's mad. Like 5.3K at 60 frames a second, and then 4K at 120 frames a second, and then 2.7K at 240 frames a second. It's unreal. Obviously, the lower you go, it's going to drop a little bit of quality, and it still has that GoPro action cam look. It's amazing though. Like, having the ability to slow that down, it's tack sharp. It's fantastic. I really love the fact that, well, You can have high frame rate footage and slow it down. It's great for like cinematic, like Instagram stories and little sequences. It's brilliant. So as we're talking about video quality, it's great performance. The footage is really easy to work with. The file sizes I've found haven't been too bad, which is great. You know, it's not fun when your computer and your hard drives can't really handle the size of the footage, but it's been great to work with. The photos have been really great to work with in Lightroom. I need to experiment a little bit more with the photos. You know, I've only shot a few things whilst I was travelling around Europe for a bit. I'll see if I've got some footage left of it. It might be on my hard drive, which I've sent off, but if I do, it'll be on the screen. And it worked really well. I love the time-lapse like settings and the hyperloop. I also need to experiment more with the night lapse, the night time-lapse thing. I might have to look into that a little bit more, but that seems really cool. The better color science is really great. I really like that. I love the fact that you've got 3 profiles now. You've got flat, which is great if you really want to color grade. You've got natural, which is their new one, which is sort of like a middle ground between flat and their sort of standard GoPro one, which is called vivid, which is where the colors really pop. They're very saturated. There's lots of contrast, but it also gets rid of a little bit of the dynamic range. So I usually use natural because you only need a little bit of adjusting when it comes to color grading the footage, and quite a lot of the time I will actually take the footage straight from the GoPro into the GoPro Quick app, download it to my phone, and then post it up as an Instagram story or a reel. But just be aware, if you are filming it in 5.3K, some apps like, for example, CapCut, which I use to make my Instagram stories and reels, it can't actually handle 5.3K, so you have to, you know, dumb it down to 4K, which, yeah, is expected. If we're talking about GoPro, we can't not talk about the stabilization. It's unreal. The amount of times I've been running with this thing or on a bumpy road with doing like a hyperloop, and I've literally just been like holding it like this, and it's just been steady. I can feel like the bumpiness of the car journey, and it's going like that. But in the footage, it's so stable. It's mad. Like what is this? I think it's called Hyper Smooth 4.0. But it's fantastic. And the last sort of pro thing that I really love about this is, like I've mentioned in this video quite a few times, I use this quite a lot for Instagram stories and reels and you know, portrait content. I love the fact that when you do film in portrait, let me turn it on, it actually sort of rotates the screen portrait. You don't have to rotate it in post, which sometimes can be, you know, it just adds another thing to your workflow. Let me hit record. So you can see, I'm going to use the audio from the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus, but it's filming in portrait, 5.3K. I've got no need to rotate this. It's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, this is the first actual time I've filmed with like proper lights with the GoPro Hero 10, but how do you think it stands up? It's pretty nuts, isn't it? But let's talk about the cons of this little fella. The battery life is satisfactory. I wouldn't say it's great, I wouldn't say it's terrible.
Not great, not terrible.
It's okay. I mean, the batteries are diddy. You can't really expect too much from the battery life. It's just, they're diddy little batteries. This one is a third-party battery, and it does have more milliamp hour things than the actual GoPro Hero 10 battery. And I have actually found that these third-party ones do actually last a little bit longer than the actual GoPro batteries, which is a little bit worrying from GoPro. So I think they do need to work on how this new processor, you know, communicates with the battery and how much usage you get from it. Now, obviously, if you are going to be filming long time lapses, I would advise, you know, plug in the USB, take the battery out and plug it in USB, and then you just got unlimited power until, you know, your battery pack runs out. Yeah, I do find myself bringing all 3 of my batteries with me, which, you know, it's something to bring. They're not big, it doesn't take up too much space in my camera bag, but it would be nice to just, you know, not always have to rely on bringing batteries and stuff. You know, if I'm going out vlogging with the A7 IV, which I haven't yet, but I'm fairly confident that I can just bring 1, maybe 2 batteries with that, and I've got enough for the day. Now, this thing gets hot. Now, we're not talking Canon R5 hot, but it does overheat. It hasn't overheated on me yet, but I am aware that these things do overheat. I haven't filmed really anything too long with these, you know, because it's been for vlogging, it's only been, you know, short bursts, you know, here and there, turn it on, boom, 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 and then turn it off. I do notice the back and the body, even through the media mod, it does get very, very warm. It doesn't concern me too much because it does cool down pretty quickly as well. The battery itself, when I take it out, doesn't feel too hot, but it's just the body just feels quite warm. Now, a lot of people are probably going to complain about this last thing, and it's the price. This thing isn't cheap. I'm going to put the price up on the screen right now, and compared to the other one, it is going to be more expensive. It's the new flagship. Flagships are going to get more and more expensive. You know, the A7 IV is going to be more expensive than the A7 III. The Canon R5 is going to be more expensive than the Canon R. It just makes sense, but this one is quite a big leap in price, but it's sort of a con, sort of not. I can understand why it is more expensive. They've basically doubled every feature. The frame rates, the resolutions. I can understand that. Now, I have seen rumblings on the internet. God, I sound like such a boomer. Now, I have seen some rumour sites on the internet already talking about the GoPro Hero 11, which is very exciting to see. Kind of down to see because I have just bought this, but this will do for now, unless they add some of these features which I'm going to talk about. Now, if you've got the iPhone 13 or the 13 Pro, one feature that I've been loving recently is cinematic mode. I love the fact that it gives you that sort of computer generated depth of field. It's amazing, particularly on the rear end camera, like the rear camera. It works well on the selfie front facing camera, but on the rear camera it is phenomenal. I love cinematic mode. Now, one thing that I would love to see is some sort of software in the GoPro Hero 11 giving you some sort of depth of field, some sort of cinematic mode. The sensor in this is tiny, it's bigger than the iPhones, so I'd love to see that as a possibility. But imagine some sort of cinematic mode, some sort of depth of field mode on the GoPro. It would be so amazing to see, because at the moment GoPros don't have autofocus. They have a minimum focusing distance, so if you are filming quite close up, you will not appear very sharp. Whereas if you film a little bit wider, which I usually have to do because I set my sort of lens mode to linear, because, you know, I don't want all that banding and fisheye warped look. It's not my style, so I set it to linear, so I do have to hold it quite far back. But imagine getting depth of field on a GoPro. That would be nuts. The next thing I'd love to see in a GoPro Hero 11 is better battery life. It is a concern that the battery life does die really, really quickly, particularly if you're filming in the 5.3K. It does die very quick. It sort of changes between when you switch to photos to time-lapse. You can see the battery bar go up and down from, you know, 100% to like 30%. It does go really, really quickly, which, you know, isn't great. I do have to, you know, bring those batteries with me. So yeah, that's just sort of part of my GoPro Hero experience at the moment. And the next thing I'd love to see improved is maybe a new sort of design, you know, new placement of the battery door to work better with the media mod. Because when I'm out vlogging and, you know, I do need to change a battery, one, I've got to unscrew all of this. I've then got to take out the door and take it out to do the battery, and the same with the SD card. It becomes quite a ball ache. That would be great to see improved. I do like the media mod. It just sort of opens up a lot of doors. It allows you to, you know, add, you know, HDMI, USB-C charging, a microphone, more importantly, because as much as I do like the media mod just vlogging on its own, it is nice having an external microphone such as the Rode Video Micro. I'm on the Video Mic Pro Plus at the moment. That's a little bit too big for a GoPro, but it does improve the sound quality tremendously. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is my thoughts on the GoPro Hero 10. Drop me a comment below and let me know what you'd like to see in the GoPro Hero 11 or future GoPros. And if you've got a GoPro Hero 10, let me know your thoughts on it. I'd love to know. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.